Welcome to another edition of Crime News with Mark Solomon. It's Saturday, June 10, 2021, and today's episode is all about the Summer Wells disappearance case. We did an introduction on yesterday's video. Today we're going to do a deep dive on what we know. But before we get to that, don't forget to click like and subscribe with a little bell next to it to be notified of future videos. We'll be posting more, and if I ever do a live episode, you'll want to know about that too. So let's get started. As a recap, Summer Wells, 5 years old, disappeared June 15 in Hawkins County, Tennessee. She was with her family at the time, and today we're going to be talking a lot about what the family has been saying. Interestingly enough, there have been absolutely no details released officially. In other words, all the details are coming from interviews, reporters, but the local police, sheriff, and FBI, who are all involved in this search for the missing girl, have not said anything. The only thing that they have released is that they were looking for a 1999, 2000 red Toyota pickup truck with some sort of work truck back and white buckets in the truck bed that might have been spotted in the neighborhood on either June 14 or June 15. Remember, June 14 was the day before Summer disappeared, and June 15 was the day she disappeared. Let's get into the details from these articles. I think you'll find this as odd as I do. So, first off, this is an article, and remember, all the links are in the description for everything I'm going to show you today. Summer Wells, who is who? And this is important. First off, these are the images that have been released of the 5-year-old girl missing, Summer Wells. And, this is her, all the photos that have been released. This is a photo of Donald Wells, Summer's father. We're going to talk a bunch about him. It says here, now he first talked to reporters on June 18, saying that his wife, Candus Bly, who we're going to get to next, said that her daughter was, what her daughter was doing before her disappearance. And this is the story that Candus said. She was planting flowers with her mother and her grandmother, and she wanted to go into the house. So my wife watched her go into the door, and she went into the house. And the boys were on the internet. She wanted to go downstairs and play with her toys. So when her mother came in and said, Summer, and she went down into the basement and didn't answer. So she went down there and she was gone. That's literally their story in a nutshell. And we're going to get to why I think it's a very suspicious story. He says that, again, this is the father. Some bad person grabbed her, but we have no idea. The FBI and the police have covered every single place. Everything anybody can think of, they've covered. He says, I knew right away that she was abducted. Now, we're going to talk a little bit in one of these interviews that I've watched, and I think you should watch too. One of them is 5 minutes. The other is 12 minutes. I think that the more he talks, the less I personally believe what he says. Here. He has a criminal history, an arrest warrant from October 14 of last year, and that was on a report of domestic assault. He was arrested. That charge and everything stemming from that was dropped in April. So that was just 3 months ago. 2 months, April, May, June. Yeah, 2 months before before his daughter went missing. So it says here that there were charges and the protective order saying she'd been in Utah and that they weren't on the same page due to lack of communication. She apologized to me. And again, she went to the district attorney, talked to the judge that she made a serious mistake, and that's the end of it. She didn't get hurt, and I never hurt anybody. So that's literally, I'm just reading his quotes. His previous charges date back to 1990. He had charges in both Utah and Arkansas where he had possession of counterfeit substances without a prescription and a burglary. These are old charges. And again, there was an aggravated assault interfering with a public servant, forgery, burglary of a dwelling, and a theft. Asked by WJHL if he would like to address his criminal history, says, well, it's in the past and let's leave it there. Good choice for him. I think he has a criminal history. It's relatively extensive, and I understand he's actually served some time in prison as well. This is Candus Bly. This is Summer's mother. She is also in these interviews. And I'm not going to go over the quote again, but it says here, Summer got a piece of candy from grandma. They wanted to go back and see her brother. She said, okay. Watched her, walked into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And within 2 minutes, she says, 2 minutes, she goes in and asks the boys where her sister was. And she says they went downstairs to play with their toys in the playroom, and that she was yelling downstairs for the 5-year-old, but never heard back, and went down there and she was nowhere in sight. Bly also believes that her daughter was abducted, and it doesn't jive with what I'm seeing, but let's get to that in a minute. She posted a video of Summer swimming to her TikTok page on June 15, the day her daughter was first reported missing. She said she was with a family friend. They were swimming for around 20 minutes, waiting to pick up a prescription for her mother. They then returned home in the afternoon. Not sure how many hours had passed between then and when her Summer disappeared. You know, I really can't tell you because, you know, you're trying to enjoy yourself. Okay, whatever. At some point, Candus Bly, the mother, was alleged to have taken a polygraph. Again, this is coming from the family, not the district attorney, the police, no law enforcement agents. This is Donald Wells saying that Bly had passed a lie detector test. And I would suppose the only way he would know that is because somebody told him that. Maybe his wife, the mother of Summer, said that. I'm not sure. That detail is a little ambiguous, but he's saying that she took a lie detector test and that she passed it. Remember, there's a big reason why lie detector tests are not accepted as evidence that can be presented to a jury. And it's because lie detector tests, first off, not that reliable. If they're good for you, great. If they're not, who cares? You know, depending on which side of the fence you're on. But, you know, the fact that he's saying she passed a polygraph test, none of that's coming from anybody official. I take that with a grain of salt. Okay. Next was Candus Harer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's Summer's grandmother. She stays on the property, in a camper on the property. According to Bly, the mother was also planting flowers. She was outside when Summer disappeared. She says, bring my grandbaby home. She's a lovely baby. Thank you for everyone for looking for her. We yelled and looked as much as we could. She's just gone. It's devastating. That was June 25th, 10 days after her granddaughter had disappeared. And what I think you'll find if you watch the actual videos, this statement mirrors almost exactly what mother and father of the missing girl are saying. So you've got mother, father, and grandmother, the only 3 adults on the property, just 10 days after their 5-year-old little girl has disappeared. And they're saying, thank you so much, everybody, for looking. She's just gone. Wow. Wow. That blows me away. You know, anybody who's been any close to any kid is going to probably go a little bit longer with hope than 10 days that maybe something happened. Maybe I'm overreacting here, but, you know, the family are not saying, give us information so we can help find our little 5-year-old girl. They're literally saying, thanks for looking. And here, I'm going to skip the rest of this. The brothers don't say anything else. There's the investigators, the brothers. I'm going to skip here. Here is the father in a 5-minute interview where one of the things that I think was just stark in this interview, he talks about, that they looked, they couldn't find her. Everybody's looking. Thanks for looking. Anyway, the interviewer asks, what are you asking the community of the public? Like, what do you want us to do? What are you asking for? And he just says, thank you for the outpouring of love. Not, please, whatever you do, tell us anything you know. I mean, granted, at that point, there were 700 some tips. Now it's 840 some tips as of Friday. And he's literally just talking about all they've done, how kids will be kids, and it's really sad. And this interview, it does not sound like a parent who is trying to get his daughter back at all. Be your own judge. It's 5 minutes. Watch this video. Again, links are in the description. In this interview, it is a 12-minute, 20-second interview. I watched it, and you can see both of Summerwell's parents talking about what's going on. They do talk a lot in the past tense. He apologizes for talking in the past tense and says people are going to rip him apart for doing that. But again, he's talking about how sorry he felt for all the people who were looking, having to, limp around looking in all around their house. Here's, again, 12 minutes. If you're interested in this case, you should watch this video. It's entitled Extended Interview, Parents of Missing Child Recounts Events Leading to Disappearance. Their story does not change. They say the exact same thing every single time. This is what I want you to see. Now, I am not disparaging where they live. I'm saying this is the photo alleged, according to this article, this WKRN article of the photos where she was. They were planting flowers, and in this house, Summer went inside, and apparently that might be the back door that they're saying is unlocked, but they are saying that they didn't hear or see somebody coming up to this house. It's not that big a house, and if they were on the exact opposite corner of it, outside, mother and grandmother, I don't know where the dad was, but you would think that with that point of view, they would have seen or heard something. And yet, she says she went inside just minutes after Summer went inside and then didn't hear or see anything, even though she knew she went into the basement, says that she must have walked out the back door, this one right here that we're seeing in this picture that was unlocked. And they didn't run, drive, go anywhere. Look at this. There's a dog. The dog didn't bark. I find this highly suspicious, and the story has very little credibility to me, because you'd think in such a small house outside planting flowers that they would have seen or heard something. And within 2 minutes of walking inside, somebody couldn't have taken her that far without making some kind of noise. Yeah, here it is. 780 square foot house near the center of an 11-acre wooded lot. And the idea that anybody could have gotten on or off that 11-acre wooded lot without being seen or heard within minutes with a 5-year-old little girl, because they still believe that their daughter had been lured outside and abducted. And I don't know. I find that incredibly suspicious. I find it very difficult to believe. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please, please, please tell me in the comments below. If you think this story holds any water, 780 square foot house on an 11-acre lot, two adults outside, didn't see or hear a thing. Neither did the dog. Even if the dog was inside, you'd think the dog would have heard or seen something and made some kind of noise. And in this case, nothing. And with all of the people looking, that means she had to have either been taken someplace else, abducted by somebody, or it was the family. And so you be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's what I've got for you today. I'll keep you updated on anything that I hear about the case. And if you have any thoughts, issues, comments, whatever, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And until then, thank you so much for watching.